That's my first, yep.
Yeah.
Did you open the bottles already before you?
We don't
You're
have.
on.
Okay, you're on, the TV's on, so let's start the meeting.
Okay.
We want to call the Board of Water Commissioners to order. The meeting will be rebroadcast on public access channel. So I guess the first thing we're gonna do is, you can't approve the minutes, but I did, I signed them, and I guess you're gonna approve them or
Okay.
something when you come back.
Yeah, when you come in, you can read them and approve them.
Yeah, oh, we want to say that Mark Birch is out of town and he's on speakerphone.
And you talk to the attorneys, this is legal?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, till, not much longer, right?
Till
2023.
beginning of 2023 because of COVID, they enforced.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
The other thing is, we're gonna do the bid openings for the new truck. The first one is from Jervis Ford. It's for a new Ford, I guess, seeing that they're a Ford dealer. And I'll find the page here and we'll be all set.
How many bids did we receive?
4.
4, okay.
Yeah, that can't be the right.
I think it says right on the front page, doesn't it, John? Highlighted in yellow.
Top one or the bottom one?
Well, read them both.
Oh, steel, all right.
There must be an
The first
alternate,
one is 72,870, and that's with a steel body. And the second one is 73,990, and that's with an aluminum body. That's the first one. Second one is from Liberty Chevrolet. Are these all with aluminum and steel bodies?
No, some only had access to steel and some could do both. Liberty was very limited on anything they could get, so.
Well, the Chinese have got them all tied up. That's what the problem is. Jesus, Fran, I can't,
That one was tough to find. I think in next page. Chris, do you want to get the other one? Just go to the page.
On here, or these
For
ones?
the next ones.
yeah.
Discount, aren't they?
I think so, yeah.
You have a lot of stuff on that lot.
Yeah, he said GM
Let me take a look, John.
Still
cut
didn't find it.
70% of his orders, so he got 30% of them.
Well,
Yeah, see if you can find that one, I'll go to the next one.
They're getting 30% of what they're supposed to get.
Okay,
Oh, it's right here.
Yeah.
all right, what was this? This is
This was Liberty.
Liberty Chevrolet. This is 92,797. Pretty steep. Pretty steep. Okay, the next one is from Townsend Ford. This is with a steel body, 77,340. The aluminum body is 78,730. And the last one is from Duran Buick in Leominster. This one's got no aluminum body, just a steel body, 73,097. And we're gonna take these under advisement naturally until you get back
Yep.
and make a decision, see what we're gonna do.
Sounds good.
Pretty high.
Yeah, but the good thing to see is the aluminum body was like $1,100 more. And I think that'd be the route to go if we can, I think the cheapest one was aluminum body anyway.
Yeah, the only thing.
No, the Durand was the steel body at 73.
Well, what was,
Oh, Jarvis Ford was steel body at 70.
so they got the
30.
low bid, so
not-
but the aluminum was. a
Oh,
little
the
bit
aluminum
more.
was, yes, 73.9.
So-
Yeah, it was only 90, but
But that's a good idea, because then we can
Yeah.
move that body to another truck.
Yeah.
And save
If you
20
get the
20
same truck again when you buy another.
But we can buy these off the state bid.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have to go to bid, we could just go and pick one.
Yeah,
But you save money if you go out to bid. When you put people up for competition, they compete.
Yeah.
If they're not competing, the prices aren't the same. So, I mean, if we, you know, lot of people, departments, when they get a bid, they spend all the money and we don't, we put it back in the account, so.
Okay, the next thing on the agenda is Pondview Estates. Mr. O'Brien is here.
Yep.
And we're gonna discuss the proposal of the water line layout. So I guess Fran's up?
Well,
Mr.
no,
O'Brien's
Kevin's up, but I mean, so I've been to the ZBA meetings, when Kevin's been there, and, at the last meeting, Kevin asked if he could speak to the water and sewer boards to discuss the water, and that's his intention to be here, is to talk to you guys and kinda lay out his plan. So you're up, Kevin.
My turn?
Your turn.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Kevin O'Brien, the applicant for the Pondview Estates subdivision. I'm sure you all remember some of the history on the water, changing the water trying to change the water district back a few years ago. This, I'm just gonna show you guys real quick. This is a plan showing the subdivision. This is a 3-year-old plan that Environmental One did for me for the sewer. As I said at the board the other night, the ZBA board, there's only one place that the water and sewer is gonna go. So come down Howard Street to West Townsend Road and up Chase Road. Whether the sewer comes down Beale Street and ties in over here on Mass Ave, or if it comes up here and ties in over here on Mass Ave, this one goes to Leominster, this one goes to Fitchburg.
Right.
I think the same thing goes with the water. I think you and I have talked about this before, Fran, and quite frankly, Fran and I started talking about this the other day, and I said I didn't want him to be in a position where we all know there's a lot going on with this thing. Everybody's involved, everybody in town wants to stop it. I don't want him to be in a position where somebody comes back at him and says, you did O'Brien a favor. I don't want favors, I just want to do what's right for the project, and quite frankly, what's right for the town. We all know that this is probably the highest spot in Lunenburg. Does it make sense to bring, again, this is preliminary or maybe hypothetical, or if I do get it approved with the zoning board of appeals, that this is the way we would probably present it to you guys and work with you after. We don't have to do a complete design for the Board of Appeals for the mass housing submittal. So that's what we did not do. We didn't do any off-site improvements. We just said we're gonna put it in, it's gonna cost this amount of money. So I asked them the other night if it made sense, as Fran said, to talk to this board and to talk to the sewer department, commission, whatever, and let's get if I prevail, what can we do? So that's what I'm here tonight to discuss with you. I think the logical thing to do is bring it, like I said, down Howard Street to West Townsend Road, up Route 13. I don't know where the hell else we could do it, unless we went cross-country, and that would require me to get easements from people, and I think that's the silliest way to do it, because cross-country, you never see a leak if you have one, and you could lose water forever. I know this being the highest point in town, it would probably make sense, or would probably require putting booster pumps either on it or up the top of it to suck it up to, quite frankly, a tank. Our opinion is, mine and the O'Brien side of things with the town, with dealing with the zoning board of appeals, is we've got every right to do this under the 40B umbrella or hat. Where still nobody wants to make that yes decision, but I think we've got to the point where it has been made with a few caveats. So I think the zoning board of appeals can act for you, your board, under Mass General law, under the law of what we've found, and my attorney has found in his research. I think they have the ability to work for the the sewer department too. They are under the 40B umbrella. They take care of every department. But again, it does not make sense for them to look at this and say, well, just draw something, I'll put something on a piece of paper. I'd just as soon talk to you guys and say, look, what makes sense? Now again, and going back to Fran and I talking, we've talked about, does it make sense to put an 8-inch line out here? No, if you're gonna do something out here with a tank, does it make sense to even maybe eventually put a pump out or well out there? I mean, we all know that this is very rich. I know there's something over on Northfield Road, because the guys that have been doing the wells for me have said there's 2 buried wells over there somewhere. They take 170 gallons a minute. That's huge.
Yeah, there's two of them. I think it's total, but both wells are 300 gallons a minute.
So, you know.
That would be a good,
Yeah, we've,
good. So I mean, I agree that there is potentials out there. I don't know what the potentials are on his side on his land. I'm not sure who owns the old golf course land now. I'm not sure if the golf course still owns all that or what. I'm not sure.
did those 2 wells have anything to do, or were they incumbent in the property of Powell's that was gonna sell it to the lettuce place, or are they
No,
separate?
those are different wells. That kind of all went under when that previous owner backed
Yeah.
out and Powell took it. But the open space section of that is where we had potential well sites.
They are protected, or they're not?
Not protected. It was in the open space part, so we thought we were good to go.
Yeah.
And then when that project went out of town and Powell took it over, all that kind of went away. I'm sure we could work with Powell and
Yeah, we should check into that.
get access to do some testing. Testing, those are bedrock wells. Those are much more expensive to do testing on. But they're probably, back last time we did it was like 10 grand a well just to do a test, so.
Well, they drilled a well.
Yeah, they're drilling
Right.
a well. Yeah, and then when you're done, if it's decent, you just leave it there. If someone does something, there's a well for them, so.
Yeah.
So on this thing, Kevin kind of got into a little bit. So the ZBA, they're the authority that would approve this thing. So if he said, hey, I want to run a 2-inch line down there, the ZBA could say, yeah, that's great, go ahead and do it. And we have no authority to say no. So Kevin's trying to do it the right way where he has us involved to do it the right way. And so that's why he's here, just to, get
How
us
can
on
the
board.
ZBA override us on
They're
this?
full charge of this whole project. If it's sewer, they're in charge of it all. So what we have access to peer reviews, so we can have an engineering firm review what he's presenting, see for things that the 2-inch line was kind of exaggerated the other way, but
Yeah.
I know that wouldn't happen, but it was so peer review. So we have our own engineering firms. There's a lot of good engineering firms, and if we use one the same as what the sewer does, I don't have a problem with that. So if we wanted to combine forces, or if the sewer uses the same one that we have, I don't have any preference. And it's ZBA picks the peer review
Yeah.
engineers, consultants. So
Can we suggest anything?
We could suggest,
Like give advice to the ZBA to say, hey, we've worked with this firm, they're good, whatever.
Well, if you
advise.
don't, I will. If
Okay.
you tell me, hey, we'd like to use Joe Smith,
Yeah,
I'll tell them, look, I mean, we're going through it right now with the review for the engineering end of it, the civil end of it.
So lately, we've been moving towards a Time Bond as our #1 engineering firm. So if they're gonna go out and get pricing for proposals from them, if they get one from Time Bond, then and it's competitive, then I prefer to have them part of it. If it's high and someone else is cheaper that's doing the sewer as well, I'm gonna pick up what the engineers say anyway. So they're not gonna fool me.
What happens now with the 40B, the way the 40B works, and again, I'm not a lawyer, so please, I'm not trying to act like one. We give a preliminary. The site work has been done, we're using the existing subdivision plans for the roads and all that stuff, but, we haven't completed, like, the new design for the road. The road's gonna stay where the road goes, but now there's gonna be a little bit more runoff because of the buildings and the less impervious area on the ground and blah, 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 blah. So that will have to be after the board, if the board, when I hope the board approves it, then after that, we have to come out and deal with the engineering department, we have to deal with you guys, we have to deal with the sewer department. This is This is a preliminary.
So this is down the road.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna get another bite at the apple to see, into the design end of it, I guess is more what I'm saying. I just wanna make it, you know, I got the plan in, this is what we went through a year and a half ago, whatever. And we all know that it's not, as we talked about before, that the water, if we were to do a well or a tank, is it in the district? Depending on where we put it, no. I know, you know, at the ZBA, they're saying, well, the buildings aren't in the district. Well, as far as I'm concerned, and I think I made this clear before when I was going through this a year and a half ago, and I know you have a different lawyer now, but when Dick was here, it was that we could put a meter station out there in the district. So just for blank and giggles, if I said, okay, I'm gonna put a meter pit right here, and I'm gonna start my own water company. I think that's one of the ways of me buying water from you. Do we have to get into that right now? No. I think I tried exhausting every avenue before, the legal way, the right way, the proper way. No, nobody wants it. We all know that what it's gonna do, it's gonna open up all that land going out there. Sorry. That's the way it is. I've tried for 15 years to bring this thing to the town with houses. I was agreeing to do it in phases, zones, pieces, call it what we want. And I kept hitting the brick wall. This is this is what I propose now because of what I've been going through before. So I need to just get a feel from you all on what you want to do or what you would suggest doing. Maybe we don't even have to get into the size of the pipe right now. You and I both talked about that.
Okay.
If you're gonna do something up there and later down the road, do a tank, or, you know, does it make sense to have an 8-inch line? No, I think I would agree with you that a 12-inch line would certainly make more sense. Not that I'm looking to spend more money, but that's, again, it's the right thing to do.
So on the design part, I mean, his base elevation is higher than the overflow of our tank, so it's impossible for us to get water there under natural pressure, gravity kind of thing. So booster pump station would definitely need to be put in to pump the water up to that elevation. I would suggest a storage tank up there, you know, to provide fire protection and allow that pump to cycle, you know, fill the tank and then sit for a certain amount of time and then, you know, supply the water to the residents up there and then eventually, you know, turn back on. And then eventually, if we could find a source of water in that area, that would be excellent. Then that could just feed up to that tank, and then we could use that for a backfeed into the rest of the town. So I think a well would be, you know, a huge benefit to it.
Mark, have you got any comments? We've moved along a little ways here. You got anything to say?
No, I watched the ZBA meeting. There's really, they had supposedly the authority on it. I agree with Fran using the same peer review engineer as the sewer, if it's possible. And then I'm okay with Fran working with Mr. O'Brien on, you know, conceptual logistics for this thing, the pump station. The tank is a good idea for exactly the reasons that Fran listed. And pipe sizing and stuff, I would leave that to Fran. I mean, this is conceptual at this point. And I think we kind of know what we need up there, and I'm okay with Fran reviewing that with Mr. O'Brien.
All right, where are we on moving forward on this thing right now? Are you guys gonna be talking about layouts or
I'm
anything?
not sure
or
when,
we
'cause of
gotta
this-
get another plan first?
I think the layout that we're talking about right now is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Fran, what I talked about is, like I said, coming up 13 Chase Road, West Townsend, and up Howard Street. When we get to the project itself, we're gonna have to design what we're gonna do. We're gonna have to design the whole thing.
I think we're gonna have to all agree, I mean, this is the only intelligent way to go, there isn't another.
Exactly.
There isn't
I mean,
another way.
There is another way, but I don't think it's the best way. I think that's the best way. I mean, you could go to Highland Street, Highland, West Townsend, you could head that way. But you'd be fed from a 6-inch line. So, I mean, this is the best way.
Yeah.
What's down here now for a line? 12 inch?
12 inch,
Yeah, you could.
Direct to both tanks.
Yeah,
So,
all right.
that's the best.
I mean, you go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, I was just wondering, what's the, I mean, I'm 99% sure that Mark will agree with us on this, and I know you will and I will on this layout, but what's the next step now?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I think, are you gonna draw this on a plan for them to see, just a basic?
I'm gonna do something like this, like the Google map, and just say, this is what we're proposing, this is what I talked to your board about, and this is where the logical place is. Do we decide which side of the road it goes on right now? No, I don't think we have to. We all know Chase Road is probably gonna be on the right side going down Chase Road towards Townsend.
Yeah, it's all cliff over
Because it's
here.
not, exactly, so it's gonna be on the closer side. You know, I don't think we have to get into that, right now. I guess I would ask, if you're, that's legal and I don't wanna do that to you. We would design, once we get to the point of you saying to the board, look, or the zoning board, we had a meeting, Mr. O'Brien was there, he presented what he's thinking of doing, we're liking the idea, because it's the only place that the thing can possibly go, or probably the right place for it to go right now. That once we get to the point of, if they approve it, we will come back, of course, we'll come back to you guys, and we'll design it. I have had from Howard Street all the way to 2A, Whitman and Bingham, Haley Ward now, has surveyed the whole thing. So I've got 17 2x3 sheets of 40 scale, so it shows exactly what the grades are out there, where culverts are. Of course, it doesn't show water services in there, well, there's no water services, but it doesn't show gas services, where the gas services are on Chase Road, but, so we're really ahead on what we're looking to do. Not that that's gonna make a big deal for you guys, well, it's gonna make a little bit of a difference, because, you know, this is a low spot here, then it comes up again, and then it drops down, and then there's another low spot here, and then it all the way uphill. So I've really got two real low spots in the, let's call it 3-mile line. But I guess again, I think the preliminary, you know, feel is for, I need you to say, look, we like that idea, that's where we think it should go. That makes logical sense, and when you sit at the board and you get a chance to talk to them, you can say, we talked about it, you know, of course, we're not gonna have it designed until we get to the point of you all being the zoning board of appeals.
Are we in agreement, though, that you're okay with the pump station and a storage tank?
Well, I'm okay with the pump station. The problem is, where am I gonna put a storage tank?
That's difficult.
That's
for
what
me too. So,
Yeah, but
Go ahead, Mark. Yeah, go ahead.
from our perspective, the storage tank, I don't know if that's something we can require, but you're gonna need something for fire protection. And it's a good idea to have it, because it's a dead end line. There's no other way to feed up there if something goes wrong with that line. Then, you know, I think a storage tank's a good idea, but I don't know if we can make him put one in. I don't know what, you know, we can suggest it.
yeah, I think, well, like Kevin was saying, well, where? You know, that's the thing. I mean,
Yeah.
if it did go up there, it'd probably would go in the back of the property. And then how would that tie into the district boundaries? And because we're responsible, unless he does form a water company, we are responsible for the water to the tap. So if there is a storage tank up there, that the water quality in that tank is ours. Unless he's from his own water company, becomes his own public water supply, then it's his.
Right.
But I think this is the difficulty part of where's the district boundaries gonna be, and where can this tank be? I guess the tank could be outside the water district. No, I don't think it could. That'd be an attorney question, but I don't know. But yeah,
But if this
I
is-
think we really should push for the tank, but then we're gonna be like, wait, where's the tank going? That's,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know that part.
If I could ask you guys to do, I guess, a little homework for me. Check with your attorney and see if it can be out of the water district,
Okay.
okay?
Is
The
that
tank.
okay with you guys if I ask? The
That's
tank
fine
and-
with me.
Yep.
Also, if we were to do something with a well, can that be out of the district?
That definitely can be out of the district.
It can be?
Yes.
Okay. And can I start my own water company and have you meter to the 500-foot boundary and me buy water from you? If we have to put a storage tank in and a pump, a well, I would rather rent it back to you. I'd put it in and rent it back to you. I don't want to be in the water business. If I do just the water up to me and I take it from that meter pit, let's call it, and buy water from you, I've got a water department. I've got a water company, as we talked about before. If we do something with tanks and wells and stuff like that, I don't want to be in I don't want the responsibility of.
Okay, well, we're gonna have to see how this all plays out.
Exactly. So what I'm asking is if you can talk to your attorneys and just say, look, you know, are we okay doing what Kevin's asking to do?
Okay, so I know about the well one because Keating's, when we put that well in, it was not in the water district.
Yeah.
Because we can acquire water from even outside town,
Yeah.
but we can't supply water to residents from that because it's outside the district. So that's why we added the boundaries to the Keating well. So even though the well would be outside, it couldn't feed anybody in the way to the district. So still a little touchy spot, but the tank, I don't know.
So how would you do that? How would, if we did do a well, it's just for blank and giggles, and we put one out here, and it's not in the district, it can be out of the district?
Yes.
The well. But you can't sell that water.
Oh, no, we could sell the water, but the line that goes to that well cannot supply anybody. So if we had a dedicated line to our district water,
Out here, let's-
somewhere, yeah, and then something went back and fed then you could do that. It's kinda,
You can, what you're saying is you could drill a dry hole and fill it with water, district water, and then put it into the system, right?
no, we can't supply outside the district. The well could feed our district, but we can't supply outside of the district.
So you can't supply our water to the well, which is
No,
outside the
we've
district.
taken water from the well, yeah, so.
That's what I just said, but, so we can't fill the well and then him run it to his property, to his house.
Not directly, it'd have to come back to our system, and
Okay.
then we'd have to go to his meter, and then he could do it from there.
All right.
Yeah, even if the district boundaries, let's say his whole project was in the district, but the well was on conservation land that the town owned or something, outside the district, we could still use that well. And then once it got into the district boundaries, then we could supply the people from there. So I
So
don't,
so let me ask you this, if we did a well, again, hypothetical, way out here,
yeah,
and then I had a meter pit right here that supplies, I bring the water all the way up, boom, it supplies me. And we put a storage tank can go outside the boundary, outside?
I don't know that one.
Okay.
Not sure on that one.
Okay.
Wouldn't this kind of be, I know you're saying to check with our attorneys, but it may also be our attorneys talking to the town attorneys, because if ZBA is given the authority to oversee every board,
Everything, yeah.
everything, if they have the right to sit there and say, the water district is going to supply this project with water, then how can't they sit there and say, part of that, then you are required to install a booster pump and install a storage tank and do all of that, even though like our rules say, our rules say we can't do this, but obviously the
And
ZBA gets to.
they can overrule.
They can overrule anything, so wouldn't this be more of a question of maybe our two attorneys consulting the town attorney to say, listen, like.
Because just so everybody's aware, when we talk to our attorneys, they're like, we have nothing to do with this, it's the town's attorney that's dealing with this. You don't need to be paying us, they're in control of the whole thing, so.
Because if they're gonna force us not force us, but if they decide,
Force
yes, we have the authority to oversee the water district, well then, I would hope, like you said, that they would turn and say, okay, we're the ZBA, we don't really know anything about water, so we're asking you to tell us what's required. And we sit there and say, yes, the 10-inch line, this is required, and booster stations and a storage tank. Well, can't they sit there and say, okay, if this is all that's required, this is what you have to do, and it's just installed? Regardless if it's in the district or not.
Yeah,
They're forcing us to,
Yeah. well,
You know what I mean?
I think you're going to, let's see how this thing plays out, where and how, and I think we'll present it just like it was just said. We definitely need a storage tank. Where it goes, who knows, you know, and I don't think it's gonna be in the current district boundary. It's gonna be outside of it somewhere, unless we don't really want it on the side of the road. And if there is a well site, that'd be a whole nother thing down the road, and
I mean, it kind of changes, because obviously our rules and regulations and guidelines don't apply here.
Yeah.
So us sitting here saying you're out of the district, it
tough.
doesn't really matter. Yeah, so I don't know, if, with your advice, I think that might be something to, if we talk to KP to say, maybe
that
talk
we'll
with,
see.
you know, the town attorney and,
on the ZBA, at the last ZBA, you said you watched it, Mark, they requested for the commissioners to attend, or a representative to attend. So if you guys,
So we all voted for you, Mark.
Right?
I've been to everyone, every one of them, they don't seem to ask questions, so.
So Fran, the one thing I'm wondering about the whole water tank well and such, if he had a meter pit at the road inside the district boundaries currently, and we had a dedicated line from that meter pit to a storage tank, isn't that in essence the same thing as if you had a well outside the district that fed to within the district? You don't feed anything along the way. Then he could have the tank outside the district. Because it's a dedicated, it's just basically like if you had a well or a water supply. It's just a dedicated line. It's not feeding anything
Right.
outside the district.
I wouldn't
because
argue.
it's feeding back to the district through his meter into his private water company.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue with your thinking. I mean, I would agree with it, but who knows what an attorney will think.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if that's doable. And then with the thought that there may be, an additional water supply down the road, but who knows?
So on the design stuff, so if he does do a meter pit and he becomes his own water company, we sell him water. On the way, we can't even get him the water until we do a booster pump station somewhere down
Right.
along the way. So that would, no matter what, would be on us.
That has to happen,
That would be
yeah.
ours. And then if it went up the top of the hill to his meter, and then if he had a storage tank, the meter could fill the storage tank through, which would come from the booster pump part, and then that would all be part of his little water company.
Well, he would own the tank then at that point.
Right.
He'd have to take, and then he'd have to maintain it and everything else, which is fine. That's another scenario.
Right.
Yeah, but it might be a couple of steps here. If we do the meter pit and bring the water up to that, step one, I
Yeah.
guess. Then we put the storage tank is step two. Because it's the water that you're bringing up is gonna be, let's say, clean. It's gonna be purified, it's gonna be all done and tested and everything. So it comes up and it goes up into the tank. Then the third step would be if we all collectively say, hey, the good news is we should probably put a well out there if we can find a good place for it. And then you guys would handle that, whatever you do testing wise and everything. And then feed back into the storage tank and then take the water back to you.
Right.
Yeah.
That would be very tough.
yeah.
Yeah, because then that'd be tough to do, but
Because how do you meter what's coming in
Yeah.
that
Well, you
you're
might have to put
using
another pit in.
versus what
Yeah.
you're
That'd be
feeding your
tough.
development
Yeah.
with?
that'd be a tough one.
Or, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Now, maybe at that point, if it got to that point and we knew that we could put the tank in, and we knew we could put the well in, even being out of the district, maybe we abandoned my meter pit, because it's kind of a moot point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think right now, I think the ZBA was looking for concept, and I think we know, if you do pipe size, put a booster pump in, and then I don't know whether fire protection is looking for, whether that our line is enough for fire protection.
The 12-inch line?
Well, I know it is, but it's a dead end line. That's the only thing. So if something goes wrong with the feed, I don't, to have the backup just for your project. That's
You're right.
a good idea, but I'm not sure we have to make you put a tank in.
Are these houses all gonna be sprinkled, I assume?
It's gonna have to be the buildings.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
big buildings.
Yeah, I'm sure, all right.
So maybe, Mac, that makes good sense, Mark, because the fire department had said on a comment that they had that, even if I was on wells out there, then I'm gonna have to have some storage capacity just in case the wells stop. Same thing you're talking about, if the line breaks. So I'm gonna have to have something up there anyway, some type of storage tank,
Yeah, you're gonna.
Right, but I think that's a fire thing, not a water district.
Would agree. But I'm sure they'd probably come back to the water district and say, hey, you guys okay with this? Is what you're putting in gonna be enough? Is it
Yeah,
gonna
and
supply it?
That's where it gets tied into whose tank is it. I mean, if it's our tank, we're fully involved with the type of tank and how it's made, the coatings and all that stuff. So, yeah, so this is where I think this all wait and see. I would say as the preliminary plan, you just slap a dot on the thing, put a pump station, and then you slap a bigger dot and say, here's a storage tank. Then where they're located.
I mean, it all
To be
kind of
determined.
comes down to, we can talk about all this kind of stuff, but it all comes down to, like, when a peer review is done, the engineers are officially gonna look at all this, and then that's when it's kind of decided. If ZBA makes the final decision, yeah, you have the right to do all of this, then the engineers can get involved and say, this is
Right.
what we're requiring, and I would think,
You're right,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
And hopefully they'd follow up with fire department, fire protection, what do you require,
Oh,
what is this?
which I'm sure-
You know what I
sure
mean?
they will.
They'll, as much as we can sit here and say, yes, we want a storage, or can we require it, I would assume those steps are all gonna be covered.
But this is where it's different. Where typically, if he was doing this project and the fire department would come and we'd all meet
Yeah,
with the engineers and
I
say,
know.
hey, we want this for fire protection. The engineer would say, well, you should have this, this, and this, and we would design the thing together. Now it's going through the ZBA.
but isn't that something that, I know this kind of puts it on you, but like you have been saying this whole time, you wanna do this right. If this project's gonna be done, isn't that something as the project owner, you could say to the ZBA, I'm requesting that we have the water department here to tell us what is required, and the sewer department, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, I think that's what we're doing. I
No,
think,
yeah.
and what I would do is after, Fran goes to the meetings and he says, hey, look, we had a meeting, Mr. O'Brien and I, and the board, we all discussed, this is the most logical way, this is where we're gonna put it. He gave us a plan with dotted lines and checkered lines, and he knows he's gonna have to put a pump in there or a booster pump in there because it's going all uphill. So we're saying yes, that could be done.
yep,
Then when the Board of Appeals approves the project, we have to come back to you all again. And at that point, I would suggest that we meet with the fire department and say, look, what's the proper thing to do here? I don't have a problem doing that with you.
yeah.
And having the fire department, after the ZBA has approved it and coming back, that's the most logical thing to do.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about who we're gonna tie in on the way, or the taps that we're gonna put off for neighbors. Does it make sense to go buy any of them? No. I know I'm drawing a blank on them right now, but the farm
Lanny, what's your
Lanny, we'll have to, yeah.
chomping at the bit.
Yeah.
You know?
He's actually talked to the town.
What's that?
We had a email going around from the town a little while ago asking about if any intention of putting running water down there, and your project came
No,
up,
I've talked to him.
and we'll see. So,
I mean,
Yeah.
he can't do anything besides what he does, he can't do any, he can't do any prepared foods, because he doesn't have a septic system. His well will give him plenty of water, but he doesn't have a septic system that'll, handle all the
Yeah.
overflow, and, that puts handcuffs on the poor guy. I mean, it's great to have a farm and a farm stand and all that, but when you right now, what's he selling? You can't go out in this field and pull it. Can't go out in this field and pull anything, so, you know, the guy's gotta survive the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months until he gets into the season and starts growing again, so. You know, that's the logical thing to do, in my mind, but, I think after, I will tell you right now, after the Board of Appeals approves it, I would sit with your board again and with the fire department to make sure that what we do up there is right.
Okay.
For fire protection and for water for the 40B right now. And if you wanted, you know, again, you're probably gonna have to get your lawyer involved at some point anyway. If you wanted to talk to them and say, let's start thinking about if we can put a tank out of the boundary, out of the district, if we can put a well, you said you can put the well. I don't know why you wouldn't be able to put a well. You'd be able to put a well and not a tank, but that's not my decision.
Yeah, I think that the tank, as long as the tank wasn't directly feeding someone outside of the district, I think that's the thing is, because we can't, you know, so, but if we had the tank and the pipe ran to our district piping and no one connected that line on the way, I think we're good to go.
So if you did something like the well, and you
Yeah.
brought it back up here and you tied it back into the line on Howard Street, and then it hit the water on its own, turned around and came right back to that meter pit. Water's smart to know. Water knows which way to go. You can talk to water and it will go the way you tell it to go. And if you tell it to stay in the line and go right down Howard Street and go back to Beale, it'll go that way.
I think the fire department is gonna demand a water tank.
Guess what?
Gonna make a water.
I think they are too.
Cause they're gonna have to, there's nothing up there.
If God forbid one of those buildings catches on fire, what are they gonna do?
They ain't gonna do anything, gonna
Right, the
stand there.
sprinkler system's there and there's no water to put in it.
There's no water in it.
I mean, they bring a truck, Mark, you'd know better than me, 500, 750 gallons in a truck?
Poof,
You blow that through in about 2 minutes.
yeah.
We
So,
have the dedicated line feeding up there, but if anything happens to that dedicated line, I think that I would agree that they're probably gonna, you know, be looking for, you know, a source up there.
of course,
Of course they are.
of course.
And I think they're gonna naturally recommend that to the zoning board, and if the project is approved, they're gonna have to let them put a tank in, cause the fire department's gonna approve, gonna make them do it.
Well, and not only from the fire department end of things, well, what if we put the line out there and there's a break and then my people are all sitting out there going, we don't even have water.
No water.
When are we gonna get water? When you fix the break?
Yeah,
So, you know, so at least, but that's for the discussion after the final design
So it
of
sounds
it.
like you agree with what we were requesting with the tank and stuff, so I think we're doing good.
I think for the sake of, for right now, with the fire department's requirement, let's say we know this isn't the number, but let's say they said, okay, you gotta put a 1,000-gallon tank in. That's not the number, but you're probably gonna want 500,000 gallons or a 1,000,000-gallon tank, so.
biggest we can
I
get.
know the smile would come to his face with that,
Yeah,
right?
I'm actually thinking 500,000, 500,000. but
I started with a half. That's,
Elevated.
yeah, that,
Yes.
can't put it in the ground, it's already elevated.
Well, you need the pressure right out of the tank, so it's gotta be elevated, and we'll put all the water up top, like our Sunny Hill Road tank, just like that.
So the bottom of the tank has got as much pressure almost as the top.
Here's the top. Well, that again is probably the second step, and then the third step is the wells. We gotta, even if you wanted to at least broach the subject with your attorney and say,
Okay.
you know, Mr. O'Brien, we talked about it, you know, we all understand that it's in the zoning boards, under the zoning board umbrella, for if we can put the water in or not out here. Same thing with the sewer. And you just said, you know, your lawyer said that, you know, you guys, the zoning board has that authority to do that, so that's one of the answers I'm happy to hear tonight. But again, once we get through the zoning board of appeals, we would definitely have to come back to you guys and talk.
Yeah, we're a ways from a final,
Yeah, gates, hydrants.
yeah.
But I think we should probably get that in motion with you know, are we okay with a well, but you're okay with a tank, and
Yeah.
So are you on the next, is water sewer gonna continually be on the ZBA's agenda?
I know we're on the next one, they asked
Okay.
for the commissioners and a representative,
And
so
you-
I'm going anyway.
Yeah.
So if commissioner or all of you wanna go, we'll just post this meeting, so you guys.
You've got all
will be
the
there.
answers, so you want to.
did you know you were gonna get that?
Not from him. Question, the sewer, if you don't mind me asking, really
No.
nothing to do with us. Is it gonna be a gravity line or pressure?
We haven't designed it. Environmental One has designed it back in 2019, when the subdivision was here.
Yeah.
We're going to wait, they're redesigning it now for the buildings and 102 houses, because if we can get the sewer out there, that makes logical sense. Why bring it to this out front and not, why bring water all the way out here and not have a well? Hello? You know, you did it with Keating's, when you bought Keating's, and you put, as you told me, you know, I thought it was 5 miles, but you put 4 miles of water main in. Didn't make sense to put 4 miles of water main in and not have a well at the end pushing the water to you. Why would you put the water in, right?
Yeah.
That's why I've always said, you know, again, does it benefit Kevin O'Brien? Of course it does. Of course it does. Let's make no mistake about that. But does it make sense for the town also? Yes, it does, in my opinion. I could be, other people could disagree with me and say, you're just doing it for money. I do it for money. There's no disputing that. This is what I do it for. And I'm getting to the point where I'm getting older, and I'm not gonna be doing it a lot more years. I'm not 20 anymore. But it's the right thing to do, so.
So they're redesigning which way it would go now?
It's gonna go the same way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's gonna go the same way.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
My thing was like, I didn't know if it was gonna be gravity to a certain point and pressure up to another.
What my thinking would be is you got a low spot here,
Yeah.
and you got a low spot here. It goes all uphill here till you get to just after Beale Street, and then it goes downhill again. My thinking would be, again, doing the right thing. You put the force main in, all the way up. You have pump stations. Not gonna say 2, 3, 18, 20, whatever. You have pump stations pushing it. This is a low spot right here. And there's a big hunk of land that either the town owns or someone owns here, which would make sense to put a pump station in. Again, this is Kevin O'Brien designing it. You have a pump here, this could all come down gravity. You're gonna pump it from here up to this pump station, and then you could pump it from here all the way up to either Mass Ave at the Gulf Station or Beale Street. Now, what does that do if you put this pump in here? You could gravity all this all the way back to here.
Yeah.
All these people, skip that side, all these people on this side could go into the gravity line that comes downhill and goes through this pump station. You can put it in the same trench. You wouldn't have to change anything with the force main. You wouldn't have to worry about these people having environmental ones. They could put a line out from their house and it goes downhill. Go ahead.
Well, that's how some of these systems are in town now.
Right, you want,
Pressure line and a gravity line in the same trench.
if you're gonna do it, why not?
Well, you gotta do it that way. I
For a sewer pipe, it costs $12.09 a foot. Really? To put 5,000 feet in, what's it gonna cost, $60,000? Wouldn't it make sense to do it now while it's open? And then you've got all of this going up, Northfield Road can tie into it, everything down in Hickory Hills at some point. I mean, it's not, I know you guys are going through something, what I understand with a well down there, with the nutrients, and that's all I hear about is nutrients, not with you guys, but at meetings. Wouldn't it be nice to someday have sewer down there that they could pump up to here, and not, they wouldn't have to go all this cross-country stuff? Just my thinking, but
I'm sure the engineers are gonna design it that way. You gotta have a pump if sewer doesn't run uphill,
right,
you know.
I was only asking because the big thing
Oh,
for me
no,
was
I
the gravity
understand that,
side.
yeah.
I mean, if this was just a pressure line here, that makes it difficult for anybody to tie into. I mean,
That's why I'm saying.
You can pump into it, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's much
exactly.
more
You
difficult.
could calculate it, I could calculate it right now to have everything that I'm doing, everybody else could tie into tie into it with, especially on this could all be gravity.
Yeah.
But from here, you know, depending on who wants to tie in over here, maybe we put it, maybe these houses here tie in with the environmental ones, if that's what I put in, the pressure line, and then once it comes down here, this takes the pressure line all the way up to wherever we discharge.
Wherever you go, yeah.
But all the rest of it would be gravity. So nobody would have to, you know, these guys wouldn't have to buy this environmental one tank that's, you know, put a big tank in there and then pump it, and
Yeah.
then it would have to all be recalculated again,
Need
so.
ones and all that stuff.
And that way, the water and sewer's done once. You know,
I was just curious, and I don't know if any people watch this, but people might wanna.
No, it's,
No.
again, it's the logical thing to do. And again, does it help my project? Of course it does. Of course it does. Am I doing this because I love the town of Lunenburg?
I
No
do.
answer.
I used to.
I do. Mark, what do you think? You agree, or you got something on your mind?
No, all good.
Okay,
All good conversation.
I think we're probably at the end of it unless Mr. O'Brien's got something else to say.
No, my voice is losing. You won't hear from me anymore.
So, Mark, I think all we got left is
Thank you, by the way.
Commissioner Superintendent and public comment, and there's nobody here from the public, so if you wanted to hang up, I think you probably could if
I got.
that's legal.
Yeah, I got nothing. I'm good.
You'd have to adjourn the meeting, because I think I gotta be there.
Okay, all right, hang on, we're not gonna adjourn for probably another hour and a half. All right, well, we wanna thank Mr. O'Brien for coming in, and,
Yeah, thank you, Mr. O'Brien.
Thank you
Yeah,
for
so
listening to me.
ZBA's, I think it was December 14th, 7 o'clock,
Okay.
ZBA meeting, so.
okay,
So if you're around, you know, you can
yeah,
mosey on by.
yeah. All right, the next thing is Commissioner's Superintendent addition. And we're gonna let the superintendent handle it.
I got nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, everything's been quiet, we've been doing good, so
Yeah,
just kinda, the guys been out getting ready for winter, getting, everything all pumped out and stuff, so we don't freeze, like hydrants and stuff.
hydrant's all
so,
set and everything?
Yeah, so we're doing good.
All right, and then there's public comment, and there's no public here. So I guess that's out. So, I guess I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, I like it. Go move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, you can go back to your supper.